Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. I apologize ahead of time if I seem out of it in this video. I played 18 holes of golf today, and there's a heat wave going on across the country, and I came home, had heat exhaustion like you don't even know. I mean, like vomiting, headache, neck pain, everything, okay? So I'm making this video mostly because I want to, and not because I necessarily have to. I try to release a video at least once every 3 to 4 days, but the news around this has gotten so absolutely blasphemous that I just had to make a video about it. And we're gonna touch base on an older topic here, and that is Russell Westbrook, because, Russell Westbrook recently fired his agent, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think that agent did an incredible job. He was able to get Russell Westbrook not one but two max contracts, and anytime Russell Westbrook wanted to be traded or go to another team, his agent was able to accommodate him. And it seems as if this time Russell Westbrook got in such a heated argument with his agent that he fired his agent, because it would appear as if his agent thought that Russell Westbrook, I mean, okay, Joe Biden, Russell Westbrook wants to be traded from the LA Lakers. Apparently, Russell Westbrook believes that he can still be fucking Hercules. I'm not quite sure why, but the fact of the matter is, Russell Westbrook offers very diminishing returns if you're any team in the NBA. Paying $47 million for a guy who struggles to shoot really anywhere from the field and leads the league in turnovers. I mean, last year he was only behind Trae Young, and that's because, he didn't play. I think Russell Westbrook didn't play the last 5 games of the season. Had he actually played them, Russell Westbrook would have led the league in turnovers. And I get that Russell Westbrook can put up a triple-double. The problem is it's not an efficient triple-double. So, apparently, Russell Westbrook's agent thought that Russell Westbrook should have stayed with the Lakers, and I agree with the agent here. The agent, I think, is right. I think that Russell Westbrook getting traded from the Lakers to another team would hurt his value. I'm just going to say this. Okay, I've done a lot, and I mean a lot of shitting on Russell Westbrook on this channel. I mean, if you just search back through some of my Russell Westbrook videos, some of them are some of the funniest videos I've ever made, and they're also some of the better videos I've ever made. They're, like, I think one of my Russell Westbrook videos, most of them are usually the best performing videos on my channel, because, let's be honest, Russell Westbrook sucks so bad that everybody wants to know about it. So, I think Russell Westbrook is in denial. And I'm going to give you guys a timeline and a period here of things that Russell Westbrook, I think, doesn't like here. It all started with last season. Russell Westbrook did not play well last season. I think that's pretty well understood. But this man has been in denial about his play this past year and has done nothing to take accountability for it. He has went as far as to blaming LeBron James and Anthony Davis, of all fucking people. And then, he comes out and says, oh, well, I wasn't able to play the way that I like to play, or, the way that I'm able to play or know how to play. And the fact of the matter is, Russ, they allowed you to do that. You just sucked at it. Okay, so that was the first thing, was basically deflecting the blame onto LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I don't care who you are, okay? You cannot be Russell Westbrook and play the way you played and then blame LeBron James for why you played like shit. You just can't. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing here is it was pretty obvious that the Lakers wanted to split from Russell Westbrook at about the trade deadline. They were obviously exploring trades. There was supposedly a Miles Turner Buddy Hield trade that got trashed today. Thank God. I don't like Miles Turner, but let's be honest, I don't hate him. Okay, like I don't want that to happen. I don't dislike Miles Turner so much that I think we should send Buddy Hield and Miles Turner to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook. Okay, not in any world unless we're going to do the legitimate tanking thing, and Herb Simon made that pretty apparent that we're not doing that. So there's that. But after the offseason, he had his exit interview, and that didn't go well either. He was like calling out reporters, and he's like, oh, they're trying to start a narrative. And once that came, somebody asked him about, oh, well, who's the people creating the narrative? Because, I mean, let's be honest, it's everybody. It's not just any one person. He's like, man, they know who they are, man. I don't gotta go. Or you know, what is the narrative? And he's like, he just deflected. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to answer that question. I mean, even though it's pretty obvious, it was Skip Bayless, because on, you know, Fox Sports 1, Skip and Shannon Undisputed, they actually had like weekly blooper reels of all the games the Lakers played towards the second half of the season. There was like at least like 12, probably anywhere from 8 to 12 highlights of Russell Westbrook turning the ball over, shooting horrible shots, shooting air balls. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there was that. Then I was confused, like everybody else, with the Darvin Ham situation, because Russell Westbrook was around the Lakers roster. He seemed to be the only person that was kind of interested in being a Laker. He's coaching all the young guys on the bench in Summer League. He was the only, like, star player out of LeBron, AD, and Westbrook to show up to Darvin Ham's introductory conference. And then there was the question. Okay, this is the thing that really sent Russell Westbrook over the edge, because you could see his facial expression after Darvin Ham answered the question. Somebody asked Darvin Ham how he had planned to handle Russell Westbrook in the upcoming season, right? And he said, well, he's like, he's gonna play defense. There's gonna be sacrifice of him potentially coming off the bench, and there was something else. I think it was like more. He's gonna do more off the ball stuff. So it went in defense, off the ball, and as soon as he mentioned sacrifice, okay, meaning coming off the fucking bench because you're garbage, okay, you know, or potentially coming off the bench, Russell Westbrook did one of these. I kid you not. Like rolled his eyes, essentially. Like he tried to like make it, you know, like unnoticeable in the back when they did it, but they kept switching the camera to Russell Westbrook and Darvin Ham, and Russell Westbrook kind of rolled his eyes when he said sacrifice specifically, and then mentioned Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. So I feel like that was the last straw. But here's the thing, man. I don't think there's any team in the league that can win with Russell Westbrook as your starter. I mean, don't get me wrong, LeBron James is not the easiest superstar to get along with. I mean, Kyrie had issues, even Kevin Love and Chris Bosh had issues. But it's the idea that Kyrie is now trying to force his way to the Lakers to play with LeBron. So Kyrie clearly thinks he can win with the Lakers in some way, shape, or form if he were their point guard. And I don't think any team that has Russell Westbrook as their starting point guard is a winning team. He turns the ball over too much. He can't shoot free throws anymore. He, for whatever reason, just keeps taking these terrible three-point shots. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Russell Westbrook's shot selection is pedestrian at best. And he's no longer hitting free throws. He turns the ball over too much. I mean, he's not a system player. Russell Westbrook is not a guy that can fit into a system, and by getting rid of his agent and honestly being in denial about where he is as a player, saying, oh, I don't want to be a starter for the Lakers, which, by the way, Russell Westbrook would be a starter if he were to stay with the Lakers. I want that to be apparent, where I don't think Russell Westbrook's going to be a starter on any other team in the league if he gets traded, unless it's some team just looking to sell tickets like the Indiana Pacers. But it's just the idea, man. Russell Westbrook is in denial about where he is at this point in his career. And I honestly think that trying to force a trade out of the Lakers organization is going to put you out of basketball. And the reason I say that is because Russell Westbrook clearly wants to stay in the NBA. Okay, he clearly wants to play. He clearly believes that he's a starter. But the problem is he's not. And he believes that he can still backpack a team to the playoffs. And who knows? Maybe he can. But the problem is any team with Russell Westbrook on their team is probably getting bounced in the first round. And I just think to myself, man, this guy has the potential to at least revive his career a little bit, and do it playing alongside LeBron James, Anthony Davis. They got Juan Toscano Anderson, who I think was a great pickup for them. The Lakers have made some moves, you know what I'm saying? And I think to myself, right, like, for you to force your way out of this situation and go to another team where you might not be the starter, or go to another team where you might just get waived and never see play again in the NBA for how bad you played, it would be a dumb idea for you to force a trade from the Lakers. I think Russell Westbrook should run it back 1 year. It seemed like at the end of the year last year, they were maybe starting to have something come to fruition between LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, but that was at the very tail end. But I just think to myself, man, like, if this guy would just shut his fucking mouth, accept the role that he's in, right? Like, if he would just accept the fact of where he is now as a player, he's 34 years old, nobody's gonna pay him $47 million a year ever again, okay? Like, this is the difference between continuing to be an NBA player and being out of the league entirely. And yes, Russell Westbrook is set up very well financially for the rest of his life, but I think to myself, man, like, at this point, money is not the issue for Russell Westbrook, it's playing. And I think if the Lakers are ready, willing, and able to give you the starting point guard spot next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the proper move here, based on the numbers you put up last year, is probably to just sit down, shut the fuck up, be seen and not heard, and be more of a facilitator. Look to get your teammates involved. Come off the bench if you have to. Do whatever it is that you are required to do to stay in the NBA. Because I think to myself, man, this is a guy who's blind ignorance is just getting in the way of him continuing to be an NBA player. Because honestly, Russell Westbrook's stats and his attitude don't justify bringing him into another team if another team trades for him and then waives him. I mean, what team is going to want a guy who thinks he's a superstar, who is no longer a superstar, who doesn't want to come off the bench? So that would mean some team would have to sign him for pennies on the dollar and then let him be a starter and risk their team being absolutely horrendous. And I just don't think there's a team out there that is willing to do that, other than a team that might be purposely tanking. And you know what, man? It sucks to see. I really wish Russell Westbrook would just put his pride away and be the backup on another team, or be the starter on the Lakers and just accept a different role. Carmelo Anthony did it. You know what I'm saying? If Carmelo Anthony could do it, Russell Westbrook can do it. And I understand maybe Russell Westbrook has it in his mind. It's like, all right, you know what? I had one bad season. Okay, I can turn it around. But you know what I'm saying? You don't just climb in the ring with Ali because you think you can box, okay? And that's, to take a saying from Fast and Furious from Jesse, okay? And that's what Russell Westbrook is trying to do here. He is trying to be a starter, and he's trying to prove to the world that he is still Russell Westbrook of old when he is not. And you know what, man? I understand reality is, and getting old is a tough reality for everybody. I mean, I went outside today and played 18 holes of golf, and I came home with heat exhaustion, okay? I mean, if I were playing golf, maybe, 10 years ago, this would have never happened. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? It's just a fact of life, man. Your body changes, you change, you get older. And Russell Westbrook still thinks like he's OKC Russell Westbrook. And you know what? Maybe he is. Maybe we're all wrong, and maybe Russ is still that player. But he's been traded from the Rockets, he's been traded from the Thunder, he's been traded from the Washington Wizards, and now the Lakers want to trade him. It is not like a coincidence that Russell Westbrook just keeps hopscotching teams. That's all I'm saying. If Russell Westbrook were truly the player that his fans think he is, or that Russell Westbrook thinks he is, he wouldn't have moved on, what, 2 or 3 teams in the course of 2 or 3 different years, you know? So, anyway, guys, that's it for me. A little bit of a longer one here, working on 15 minutes. Tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.